teams. They will both be racing against each other an awful lot this season, not only in the British Championship but the World Series as well, as the rest of the riders storm through there. That's why we love Sidecar Racing. The outfits are drifting round the corners there. It's fantastic, all action stuff, Sidecars. But it is the front, the number 77, who are on course for a second victory of the day. Yellow flags being waved there, so there's some action through, but look at the leaders, the 77 picking their way through some of the slower riders. Tim Reeves, Gregory Cluze, who have stated that they will be riding the Isle of Man TT in the Formula 2 class this year as well, so that will be interesting to see how they get on the proper road race circuit later on in the summer, of course. But they head off now unchallenged. They got through to the front in both races, and that was it. Nobody saw which way they went, and these two looking as though they've been together all their lives.
Yep, Ben and Tom Birchall behind. They've run out of time, really. There's not enough laps left. The Mansfield brothers are just going to have to settle for second, but they will have to be a little bit careful as they try and tackle the back marks, because they're at number 15. Schofield and Thomas should not be counted out. We've already witnessed them finishing second twice this weekend, but it does look like Reeves and Cluze are there for the hat-trick.
So as this race 2 starts to come to its conclusion, it is still Reeves and Cluze are out at the front, but the Birchalls, they're not going to give up trying until that checkered flag falls. They really want to start their season off with a victory as well. But the 77 at the moment, as they go round turn 1 and click off another lap there, you can see they're just keeping a check on what's happening. They've got a comfortable gap at the moment, a long look over his shoulder there from Gregory Cluze, just keeping a check on what's happened, just to see how far the Birchalls are behind in second place. You're about to find out for yourself. There we have it as they come into shot. They are absolutely flying, Birchalls. They are on all action crew, that's for sure. We have Ben, who's 33, and Tom, 10 years his junior, joiner by trade as the passenger there, and you can see how hard he's working, the passenger, absolutely hanging on over the back of the bike on right-handed bends there to try and keep that back wheel from spinning and keep the drive going. But at the front, the 77 has it all under control at the moment, but they can't relax, because the Birchalls are going to be chasing them all the way, and I'm sure by the time we get to round 2 they will be back firing on all cylinders, looking to take the races to the Reeves and Cluze outfit. But it's been a fantastic first round here, Steve. The action, the new rules have made the racing red hot.
It has indeed. I bet the Birchalls wish they had another 5 laps, because they are closing bit by bit on Reeves and Cluze, but it has been fantastic. You see that yellow and silver outfit there. That's Ben Holland and Lee Watson. They're having an absolutely fabulous race up there, but Reeves and Cluze faultless all weekend, and in all honesty, they probably deserve their glory.
I'm sure they're very pleased with the new Honda power they've got in the engine compartment there, because it has run faultlessly at the moment, and it's obviously got the speed as well. But Birchalls, as we say, it's early season for them. They will be back in it. But Reeves and Cluze, they said they needed the wins this weekend because they needed the money. Well, it looks as though they're on course to take home the big paycheck with 3 victories out of 3 races over the course of the weekend. As we start to count down towards the end of the race, the Mitchell's outfit there of the Birchalls, the gap is coming down. Steve's quite right. It is actually getting smaller as we head into the last lap now. It would take something, a big mistake, from Reeves and Cluze to actually lose this race. I think now it's theirs to lose, but the Birchalls are flying. A tap on the shoulder there for Cluze, so I'm not sure whether he's actually letting Tim Reeves know that that Birchalls are actually getting closer and they can't afford to slow down too much. Cluze keeping an eye on things there, you can see. But Birchalls, they are absolutely flying on this last lap. They won't give up, as we say, but it's still a sizable gap, and it looks as though the 3-time world champion is going to start his season off in perfect fashion. It didn't look good when his van broke down on the way to the meeting on Saturday, but things have certainly picked up a bit since then for him. So on course for victory. Race 3, 3 races out of 3, an absolutely perfect weekend. It will be a 75-point maximum going out of round 1. Gregory Cluze celebrates as they cross the line. It is a perfect weekend for Reeves and Cluze, the number 77, but Birchalls, they are still there and they will be in the hunt, and I'm sure that they will be even more determined coming up in round 2. Number 1, says Tim Reeves, and he certainly has been today, that's for sure. Gregory Cluze, his brand new French passenger there, well, a good start to his introduction to the British Championships as well, but it's been a fantastic weekend's racing here, Steve.
It's been absolutely mega. The sidecars are well and truly back, aren't they? And I don't think that's the last we'll hear from the Birchalls. And what a weekend for Alan Schofield and Steve Thomas.
So the spectators have been treated to a fabulous weekend's racing, and I'm sure they'll all be joining us for round 2. Here is the results of race 2. It was again a victory for Reeves Cluze. Birchall's got second. The excellent Schofield-Thomas pairing got third place. Peach and Richardson, our cameramen, were in fourth place this time. James and Morgan in fifth, and Edwards Wynne round out the top 6. So there are our podium. The top 3 with their trophies yet again taking the photo call, as we now head into the overall series results after the 3 races that we've had this weekend, of course, going into round 2 in a couple of weeks' time. So the series standing after 3 races at round 1, it is, unsurprisingly, a maximum of 75 points, Reeves and Cluze. It is Alan Schofield, Steve Thomas second, and the Birchalls in third. Now let's go back over to Steve on the podium.
Maximum points and the cheque for £1,500 to Tim Reeves and Greg Cluze. Fantastic weekend.
Yeah, over the moon. You know, we've come down here on a real limited budget, and yeah, we're over the moon. This money now is going to set us off for next weekend, the first round of the World Championship. And we just hope that we can find the funding to do the rest of this championship. We are talking to a big company at the moment, and if they're impressed with what we've done this weekend, hopefully we can drum up a deal, and then we'll be back. But it's a fantastic championship, and the organisers have done a real good job to put it together. And Air Honda, we've changed to Honda power plant now in our machine, and it's working really good. And new team with Gregory, and he's done a good job, and I'm over the moon, yeah.
Well, obviously you've impressed most people, so I'm sure they'll come in, and hopefully we'll see you for the rest of the season. Gregory, final 4, good weekend.
Yeah, very good weekend and good feeling with team and team. And everybody, thank you very much, and thanks for my sponsors and sponsor team. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to just also thank Mick Letchford, the lad who does my engines. He works hours and hours in that shed of his, and he's built me a little rocket, so thanks very much.
So there we have it. Round 2 is at Snetterton. Steve Day and myself, Roger Warren, will be there. We look forward to seeing you. Hope you can join us for round 2.
From the sunny hills of South Wales to the very windy and wet Straits of Norfolk, we are ready for round 2 of the Euro F1 Sidecar Challenge. Welcome to Snetterton.
We're in Norfolk near Thetford at the 1.95 mile Snetterton circuit on at the moment what is a dry day for round 2 of the Euro F1 Sidecar Challenge, sponsored by Eastern Airways. This circuit, first used for racing in 1951, is ready to rock and roll for round 2. But first of all, let's rewind to round 1 back in Pembrey in South Wales. And as expected, it turned out to be a battle between the Reeves and Cluze outfits and the Birchalls, of course. 77, though, straight into the lead. It is Tim Reeves with his new passenger, Gregory Cluze, looking to make an impression on their first visit here to Pembrey. They got straight into the lead, and basically that was all anybody saw of them for the rest of the day. But plenty of action going on behind them, with the Birchalls making up from a less than stellar start, as they snuck into second place before making a small mistake, which then put them back down the order. Luckily, they kept the engine revving, kept things going, but at the front, that made it very easy for Tim Reeves to take his first victory of the day. Second place, it is the Schofield outfit there, but it was all about Reeves and, as we say, Gregory Cluze. Victory for them. on what was a bright and sunny day at round 1. They celebrate. What a way to start their partnership leading into the World Championships, which were coming up a week after this event. Race 2, pretty much the same story again. Into the first turn, pole position, they're making the most of that, but it was Schofield and Thomas who got there first of all. And just to make things interesting, they got the whole shot this time as we head off onto the second race, but already Reeves and Cluze are through. On board though with Peter and Richardson, who overshoot one of the corners there straight away, but managed to cut back in tight. But the pattern's set at the moment at the front. Reeves and Cluze, but Schofield and Thomas on a good second position. They had a very good day at the opening round, making it very hard work for current world champion, the Birchalls, to get past them. But clear track ahead. Birchall's headed off after Reeves and Cluze as the rest of the pack streamed through. But it was a perfect day at the office for Reeves and Cluze. 3 out of 3. They celebrate as they cross the line. A perfect day for them at Pembrey, round 1. Number 1, he signals Tim Reeves, of course the former world champion himself. 75-point maximum takes them to the top of the table in front of Schofield, Thomas, the Birchalls in 3rd place and some ground to make up. James and Morgan, Edwards and Wynne rounding out the top 5. That's the standings after round 1 as we now move ready into round 2 at Snetterton. Sidecar racing is a peculiar sport. Let's hear from Steve Day down in the paddock about some of the more technical issues involved.
Well, for getting the battles on circuit, one of the biggest challenges here this weekend is deciding whether to go for Yokohamas or Avons. Now, we spoke to one man that knows quite a bit about both sets of tyres, and he'll be able to tell us a bit more about this big battle. Steve Webster, Avon and Yokohama are obviously the preferred choice in sidecars, but what are the differences between these two tyres?
I think the main thing was Avon have just come back into the into swing of things really with the new tyres that they're developing. But in the past, when I'm going back sort of like 15 years, Avons were tended to be more of a tyre which lasted a lot longer and were a lot more durable, used at warm circuits and abrasive tracks. The Yokohamas were a little bit softer and tended to get more initial grip, but then would fly to bits if they got too hot. So I think what's happened now, Avon have upped the ante and made some new tyres, some new compounds, and they're now on a par with the Yokohama tyres.
Obviously, Tim Reeves is out on Yokohamas. You've got the Birchalls on Avons as well as Schofield. So there really is a mix of drivers out there choosing which tyres to have.
Yeah, it's really good because you've got probably the best drivers, one on Avons and one on Yokohamas. It's a real little war going on, as well as the riding now with the tyres as well. So
here at Snetterton, obviously predominantly a right-handed circuit, do you find the gradient of the tyre wears on one side?
Yeah, the lads will know that. The good teams will know that, and when they come here they'll adjust the bike accordingly and set the tyres up a little bit different to make sure the tyres are working right way across the field as such. But sometimes they kind of get more abrasive on one side, and you just have to make do really.
Going from a twisty circuit like Pembrey to a straight circuit here at Snetterton, what about tyre pressures? Does that change?
I think the tyre pressures won't change too much on the slicks. Obviously when they go into the wet compounds and the intermediates, they'll vary the pressures a bit to try and get some more grip, especially with the wets. Drop the pressures a little bit to make it work a little bit more, and generate a little bit more heat in there as well.
And if you're a betting man, who's going to win the weekend, Avons or Yokohamas?
I don't know, a lot depends on the weather really, because of the new wet that Avon have brought out. It seems to be going quite well with Ben and Tom on their bike, so let's see what happens.
So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens on the tyre war. But first, let's go over to Steve Day to talk through a lap of the circuit.
Well, thanks very much, Roger. Down the start-finish straight we are then at Snetterton, on board with Alan Schofield and Steve Thomas, of course, Pembrey hotshotters. Into the first corner here is the first opportunity for overtaking. Double apex right-hander, that of course Richie's corner, and they will power slide on the exit. Then it's down the gears to one of the tightest right-handers. Very important though, this is Sears, to get onto the power as early as possible, because it leads you onto what is the longest straight in Great Britain, and certainly the longest straight on our calendar, the Revet Straight. Yep, flat out down here, up to 6th gear, and then you can see the Snetterton Bridge approaching down through the gears and then into the S's. This is another overtaking opportunity if you dare. Over to the left and then down another gear to the right. These are the S's, and then it's a little short stretch up here. You can see the new banking all the way around the outside for spectators. This is the bomb.